So I'm going to call out this situation as it is. The fact that you are involved with an unavailable man, this whole situationship is a mess. Being involved with an unavailable man is like being on a roller coaster ride. It's very up and down emotionally. It's very hot and cold because his behavior is hot and cold, right? And there's a lot of waiting. You are always waiting for him to show up, for him to call you, for him to confirm a plan, for him to validate you. You're always waiting, and he's always making you wait. Or maybe you've had a fight with him, which is very common. There are a lot of fights and arguments, and every time you guys fight, then there is a period of separation or a temporary period of no contact. So, being in that state of no contact or being in that state of waiting is very emotionally triggering, right? Or then his behavior is hot and cold. He is hot and cold. So sometimes he is there, most of the times he's not there. So when he's not there, you feel triggered. And then because this guy is so hot and cold, maybe he has just vanished on you. Maybe he has just gone missing temporarily. He's ghosted you temporarily. So you're just waiting for him to return. Basically, this guy is scratching the surface of your childhood wounds. So, wounds of abandonment, neglect, wounds of not being seen, not being heard, not being validated by your caregivers or your parents. He is activating those wounds, and so you're feeling emotionally triggered right now, today. Self awareness is everything. And before we dive into self-awareness, I just want to point out why getting triggered is actually a great thing. This is an opportunity for you to dig deep, to find out where this wound is coming from. And once you do that, you can actually heal from it, you can actually release it, you can forgive your parents and move on. You can forgive this guy and then move on. So it's a great opportunity. Recognize the opportunity, and now let's look at self-awareness. So when it comes to managing these triggers, self-awareness is everything. So whenever you're feeling these negative emotions, you need to ask yourself, am I feeling triggered right now? These are all journaling prompts, by the way, and it will be great if you make some notes right now. So grab a pen and a paper, pause this video, grab a pen and a paper and make notes wherever you need to. So ask yourself this question, am I feeling triggered right now? Right? Second question, what has triggered me? What has caused this trigger? Why am I feeling triggered? Right? So see what comes up for you. Whatever comes up is going to be eye-opening. Apart from this unavailable guy being a walking, talking trigger, there are a million and one other things that can trigger you, especially when you're waiting for him, especially when you are in a period of no contact. So I have classified these triggers as external triggers and internal triggers. So let's look at some of the external triggers. So maybe you heard a song, maybe you saw a movie, maybe you saw a TV show, and all these things reminded you of this guy, and then you started missing him incessantly, and then you start to miss him, and then you want to contact him. So that could be a trigger. Maybe you went to a cafe, you went to a bar, you went to a restaurant, and this place reminds you of this guy, so you started missing him. That could be a trigger. That could be a trigger. Maybe you heard someone using a phrase, and this guy uses this phrase a lot, so this phrase has reminded you of this guy, and that could be a trigger. Maybe you went to a place, a destination, a different city that reminds you of this guy, and that could be a trigger. Maybe you're eating a certain type of food and that food reminds you of this guy, and that could be a trigger. Certain smells can trigger you. So maybe somebody passes you by and this random person is wearing the same cologne that this man also uses. That could be a trigger. Maybe you saw their name flash on the back of a bus or a car. That could be a trigger. And this is not a sign from the universe, guys. This is just your RAS, your reticular activating system, working. So the RAS is, the reticular activating system, is that part of your brain which basically shows you more of what is already in your mind. So a classic example of this is when you select a car and a color, when you select a model of a car and a color you want to buy, then you start seeing that model and that color everywhere on the road. It's not like suddenly the supply has gone up. It's because it's in your mind now, it's in your consciousness now. You're thinking about it, so you're seeing it everywhere. Your brain is making you see it everywhere. So now suddenly if you keep seeing his name flashing everywhere, then it's not a sign from God, it's not a sign from the universe, it is just your brain, your RAS at work. So these were some of the external triggers. Now let's look at internal triggers. Internal triggers are your internal states that are causing you to feel emotionally triggered. And in my opinion, these triggers are much more intense, much more powerful. So if you don't address them, then very soon they can turn into urgent urges, and when your triggers turn into intense urgent urges, that is when you act out. That is when you take some irrational action that you most likely will regret later. Okay, so let's look at some of these internal triggers. Number one is you're just bored. You're bored AF. Your life is really dull, not exciting at all, not rich, not juicy, not exciting. So that is why you turn to this guy. That is why you want to contact this guy, right? Because your own life is so boring. I'm being very upfront and honest. This is one of the most common reasons why you want to reach out, why you're feeling triggered. Maybe you're really stressed out and anxious and sad with your own life and you want to escape it. That's why you're contacting this guy. That's why you have this urge to reach out to this guy. Maybe there is something going on in your life right now which you're not willing to look at. Maybe there is an illness in your family. Maybe there is a financial mess in your family. Maybe there is addiction in your family. Maybe there are a lot of fights in your family. So you want to escape all of that. And this man is the perfect escape. So you have this urge to contact him. Maybe you met a new guy and you went out on a date with this new guy. And on the date, you kept thinking how annoying this new guy is, how you don't like his hair, how you don't like what he's wearing, how he laughs in a very annoying way. And then you think that your unavailable guy is much better. So you suddenly start missing him and you have this urge to contact him. Maybe you have met an unavailable guy. Maybe you have met an maybe you have met an available guy. Okay, this available guy is being very nice to you and he's available to you. That is triggering you because you don't know what availability feels like. You only know and you're comfortable with the unavailable man. So the available guy is irritating the hell out of you. And you think your unavailable guy is so much better. And so you want to contact him because he's familiar, right? Because he's the known devil. So you want to contact that unavailable guy because this available guy is too available and you don't know how to handle that availability. Maybe it is a very stressful day at work and you want to escape that, and that's why you are now feeling this urge to contact this guy. That could be another internal trigger. And then ladies, last but by no means least, you must track your monthly cycle. You must know when you're ovulating, when you're PMSing. You must know your dates. You must know your monthly cycle. So for this, definitely get Flow. It's an amazing app and the free version is really good as well, right? So now, if you're ovulating, that is your body's natural time to mate and procreate. So if you're ovulating, that is another internal reason why you could have this certain urge to contact him. Not because he's a soulmate, not because he's your twin flame. You are feeling this urge to contact him because you are ovulating, right? So know all these things, they are very crucial. Also, where else in my monthly cycle do I start missing him? Maybe you're PMSing. So ladies, know your monthly cycle. Know when you're ovulating. Know when you're PMSing. Know when you're hormonal. Because maybe you're just hormonal. And because of that, you're feeling all these emotions. And then you want to reach out to him. Internal triggers often turn into your breaking points. And breaking points are those points where a mild or a medium trigger becomes an intense trigger. It becomes an urgent urge. And then you take that irrational action. Right? So you need to know what is your breaking point. And that comes with self-awareness. So if you reach that tipping point, if you reach that breaking point, you might start messaging him. You might start calling him incessantly. In some extreme cases, maybe you will land up at his office or at his home. Maybe you will start contacting his friends and his family members. And you don't want to do this. Why should you do this? Right? Or if you get no response from this guy, then you might act out. You might go get drunk. You might go hook up with the next guy. So for instance, you are ovulating and then you have this urge to contact him. And then you contact him. But he doesn't reply at all. Or he doesn't respond to you the way you want him to respond. What will you do? You will act out. You will maybe max out your credit card, go shopping, binge drinking, you will get drunk, hook up with random men. The list is endless. So those are unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? So none of these urges are going to take care of the situation. They are going to make the situation worse the next day. So then, journaling on, am I feeling triggered? What is triggering me? Having a list of triggers handy, knowing what are internal triggers and what are external triggers, knowing what are your breaking points. All of this is self-awareness. And then the next thing you need to ask yourself is, how intense is my trigger? Is my trigger mild, medium, or intense? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 3 is mild, 4 to 6 is medium, 7 or up is intense. So this is how you will measure your trigger. Ask yourself this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how triggered am I feeling right now? And see what number comes up for you. Whatever number pops in your head is the right answer for you. Don't think this too much. Don't analyze this too much. Whatever number comes to your mind instantly, that is the right number for you. So 1 to 3 is mild, 4 to 6 is medium, and then 7 or up is intense. So if the trigger is mild, let's say you ask yourself, how intense is my trigger? And the answer is 3. So that is mild. If the trigger is mild, you can just reframe your trigger. If you're feeling emotionally triggered because of this guy, most likely your inner dialogue is, oh my god, I have no control over my emotions whatsoever. Oh my god, I have no control over my emotions. I have no control over how I feel about this guy. Maybe our connection is bigger than my understanding of the world. Maybe this is a soul connection. Maybe he is my twin flame. Maybe this is a sign from God. Maybe this is a sign from the universe. This connection is mythical. Maybe this is a past life connection. Maybe we have a lot of karma between us. Maybe he's my twin flame. Maybe he's my soulmate. So can you see how this language is romanticizing your situation? It is making this situation larger than life. Right? It is making this situation mythical when it's not. Now, if you change your inner dialogue, right? If you become conscious of this inner dialogue and you change it, reframe the trigger. Reframe it to something like this. I'm feeling triggered because I saw his name flash on the back of a bus. This made me think of him and now I'm missing him. Can you already see the huge difference between my earlier language and this language? So another example how you can reframe the trigger. I'm feeling triggered because I'm in Bombay right now and Bombay reminds me of this guy. So I'm in Bombay, I'm thinking of him, I've started to miss him, and that's the reason why I'm feeling triggered. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. You see how you're diffusing your trigger already, you're downplaying the trigger. So can you see how already this language is diminishing your trigger? It is calming your trigger, right? It is underplaying your trigger. This language is extinguishing the fire that was within your trigger. Right? So always reframe your trigger when the trigger is mild. So when your trigger is medium to intense, meaning it is 5 or up, you can't just journal your way out of it. You can't reframe it. You can't think your way out of it. You have to literally move your way out of it. You have to move your body. So when you are consumed with negative emotions like anxiety, stress, worry, anger, rage, frustration, irritability, sadness, then your nervous system perceives that you are in a life-threatening situation and you automatically enter your fight, flight or freeze response. You automatically enter a state of fight, flight or freeze, which is also known as the survival state or the survival mode. In this state, breathing goes out of the window, cognitive reasoning goes out of the window, gratitude goes out of the window, logical thinking goes out of the window. Your nervous system is perceiving this as a life-threatening situation, so there is only one message across your mind and body, and that is to save your life. All hands on deck to save your life. So in this situation, your breathing will get shorter and shorter. There will be a lot of cortisol in your body, right? A lot of cortisol will be produced in your body so that you can make a run to save your life, right? All the blood will flow to your limbs so that you can make a run for your life. You will have a tunnel vision. You will also hear things louder than what they are, so that if you really were being chased by a predator or a lion, you could save yourself, you could run and save yourself. So currently, right now, you are not in a life-threatening situation and you know this consciously, but your nervous system doesn't know this. And you cannot tell your nervous system to calm down and relax. You have to show your nervous system that you are safe. So if your body is full of cortisol, right, if there is a lot of negative energy inside your body, you need to release that energy. And the best way, the quickest way to release that energy is to mobilize that energy, to move your body. So the best thing you can do right now is to go for a walk or to dance it out. 10 minutes, 15 minutes is more than enough. Do this for 10-15 minutes and you will actually see the nervous energy, the stressed out energy leaving your body. You will witness it leaving your body and the urge will go away. The urge to take action, the urge to call him, the urge to fight with him, the urge to do something will just go away. Your trigger will calm down. Right? And if the trigger, let's say, was at 6 before, and if you measure it now, it will definitely be 2 or 3. And now again, when the trigger has calmed down, you can reframe it. Right? You can logically think your way out of that trigger now. But if it is intense or even if it is medium, you first need to mobilize that energy. You need to release that cortisol out of your body. So there is a lot of value in being self-aware, in understanding evolution, in understanding how your body works, how your nervous system works. And once you understand all these things, and once you have the right tools and strategies, you can really work with your triggers. You can really calm them down and you can self-soothe. You don't need anyone else. So I'm going to wrap up this training here. And let's do a quick recap before we sign off. So today I have given you tools to identify your triggers, know what are your breaking points, then how can you measure these triggers, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, measure the triggers, identify where you are at. If it is a mild trigger, then simply reframe it. If it is a medium or intense trigger, then mobilize that energy, move your body.